This video gives you a quick overview of how to submit a valid visa application and identifies the visa eligibility criteria for a subclass 300 prospective marriage temporary visa based on legislations as of the 28th of July 2023. Some people call this a fiancé visa. This video is for educational purpose and reference only. Please seek professional advice about the content of this video. Although not every visa applicant is comfortable with reading a flowchart, flowcharting is a simple way to depict the application requirements and eligibility criteria visually. If you want to understand this visa visually, you shall begin at the blue start icon at the top. Follow the direction of the lines, which will depend on whether your answer is a yes or no to the question in a decision box. If your answer is a no, you need to follow the red line. You follow the blue line if your answer is a yes. With a flowchart, you can check whether you shall be able to make a valid visa application and whether you may be eligible to apply for this visa. We are going to go through this visa step by step with you. If you intend to marry someone from Australia, this is the visa that you may consider. You must apply for this visa outside Australia. We call this an offshore application. You must submit an online application using Form 47SP Internet. There are very only limited circumstances in which you may be authorized to submit a non-internet application. If you cannot apply online and you have been authorized by the department to submit a non-internet application, you need to use Form 47SP. Please ensure that you follow the required directions from the department when submitting a non-internet application, as failure to do so will result in your application being invalid. The visa application charge at the time of application is $8,850. There is no second installment of the visa application charge. We will call the person you are going to marry the prospective spouse. Your visa application will be examined in 2 stages, at the time of application and at the time of decision. The following eligibility criteria are applicable at the time of application. Your prospective spouse must either be an Australian citizen, an Australian permanent resident, or an eligible New Zealand citizen. You and your prospective spouse must be of at least 18 years of age when you apply for this visa. Your prospective spouse will need to sponsor you. Your prospective spouse may be prohibited from sponsoring you if your prospective spouse is a female granted a subclass 204 refugee visa woman at risk within 5 years immediately before your visa application, and other specified circumstances also exist. You and your prospective spouse must have met in person since each of you turned 18. Both of you are also required to be known to each other personally. Your prospective spouse and you must genuinely intend to marry within the visa period. The visa period is usually 9 months, but it is 15 months at the most. It is important that your prospective spouse and you intend to live together as spouses. The following eligibility criteria are applicable at the time of decision. You need to continue to satisfy the requirements about your intention to marry, the intention to live together as spouses, and knowing each other personally. There shall not be any impediment which will stop you from marrying your prospective spouse according to Australian law. As we said earlier, your prospective spouse must sponsor you. There are situations which may stop the sponsorship from being approved. At the time of decision, the sponsorship must have already been approved and is still in force. Your prospective spouse should have already consented to disclosure of the conviction of any relevant offences. Relevant offences are defined in the legislation. Even if your prospective spouse has been convicted of some relevant offences, this information may not be required to be disclosed to you under some circumstances. As with many other visas, there are various public interest criteria that you must meet, including health and character requirements. If you had been in Australia previously, you shall not be subject to any restriction which will stop you from making this visa application for certain period after your last departure from Australia. There are also other so-called one fails, all fail requirements. If any migrating and non-migrating family members do not meet the required public interest criteria, your visa application will be refused. Thanks for watching this video. Now, you have an overview of the application requirements and the eligibility criteria for this visa. If you need assistance to apply for this visa, please feel free to contact us at admin@immigration.com.au or go to our website at www.immigration.com.au.